This long-time running show comes with a lot of feelings, but when Ewan Hawkins died out of nowhere in season 10, we were shocked. Come on, he was about to mend his relationship before tragedy hit him. That's why the actor decided to address this death. In this video, we'll talk about what the actor had to say and some of the most surprising exits in the show. First off, how did Hawkins die? Evan Hawkins, played by Jimmy Nicholas, joined the Chicago Fire Department as the paramedic field chief in season 10. His relationship with Violet Mikami was a big part of his storyline. This season, they finally got back together after breaking up because of their different roles at work. Hawkins ended up taking a job in a new district, but a terrible thing happened before he could fix things. In season 11, he was trying to help a person escape a burning movie theater when the building collapsed on him. It looked like Hawkins died because of this, which was hinted at before the episode came out and made even sadder by Mikami's efforts to save him. Nicholas told fans that his character had died. "We'll all get through this together." Soon after the events of the most recent episode of the show, he also thanked them for their support. Up next, is Hawkins dead? Even though the last episode of Chicago Fire was unfortunate, some people still think Hawkins could still be alive. Jimmy Nicholas posted photos with him and Greensmith on Instagram on the night that season 11 episode 13, or the episode where Hawkins dies, aired. The pictures showed the two of them laughing between takes and filming what looks like a dating scene in a park. We haven't seen this dating scene yet though. When it was first posted, it seemed like just a teaser for a location that didn't seem necessary. But now that we know Hawkins is dead, it makes us wonder what the date could mean. We could go in a few different directions with this. The first is the least likely, which is too bad. The scene could mean that Hawkins was alive after the building fell and was brought back to life after episode 3 ended. Then, in terms of time, the scene would happen after what we've already seen. We don't think Fire would do this though, since everyone's upset about the main character's death. Followed by, should they have killed this character? People die in Chicago Fire. Often, it does this in the most dramatic ways, but killing paramedic Hawkins in the last 5 minutes of the season was a disappointing choice, and it might have hurt the rest of the season. Unless Nicholas wasn't going to be around in the future, the way Hawkins left the show made it seem like Chicago Fire killed him just to kill someone. In the episode, Violet and Hawkins' relationship was brought up again, but Hawkins was killed off 2 weeks later. Do you see how that doesn't add up? It was unfair to us. If the show was setting a stage for Gallo to return to Violet, we might not care about them again after seeing how Violet and Hawkins turned out. Giving the pair a big moment and then killing Hawkins quickly? That kind of awkward writing doesn't happen in this show very often. There's a difference between raising the stakes and a revolving door. Hawkins' death made him seem more like a plot device than the three-dimensional character he was becoming. Moving on to what Hanako Greensmith had to say about Hawkins dying. Even the actress who plays Violet had a lot to say about this death. This is a terrible loss that none of us saw coming, and Violet feels it in two ways. The bond between her and Hawkins is stronger than ever, so it will be hard to know how this turns out. In an interview with NBC Insider a few weeks ago, Greensmith made a few hints about this, but was careful not to say too much. She only said whatever challenge Violet had in store would be massive. It seems likely that she was talking about Hawkins. Violet's going to be faced with a huge problem that I don't think anyone saw coming, she said. I'm sure Violet didn't expect it. You're going to have to watch her handle some very different emotional and professional situations. But Greensmith says that the journey will be rewarding in the end, and we have no doubt about that. We're having a hard time with this new change, but we can take comfort in the fact that Violet's strong. She'll get through this, especially with the help of her amazing family at the CFD. Now let's look at some of the most unexpected exits in the show. We're used to being shocked by the show. The people who run the show have gone out of their way to show that being a firefighter is dangerous and that people can die anytime. So it makes sense that Fire's had a lot of surprising endings. Some of these exits are when a character dies, moves away, or quits their job at the 5-1. When a show has been on for a decade, there are bound to be actors who want to move on, so it's up to the writers to come up with a reason that's both entertaining and exciting. The first was Peter Mills. He was the main character in the early years of Fire. It looked like he would be on the show for a long time, but at the end of season 3, he was suddenly written out. Fans and the actor were both surprised when he left the show, even though he wasn't killed off. Not to mention Leslie Shea. This one was bad. Leslie Shea was a fascinating character from the moment she joined the cast of Fire, but just as we got used to her for good, she was killed in the shocking season 2 finale. Once again, the show used heartbreak and the death of a favorite character to show us that firefighting is a life or death job, despite the glamour and heroism of Hollywood. Since Once her character was killed off, it's doubtful that Lauren German will ever return to Chicago Fire. In the Season 2 finale, 51 went to a building fire that took an unexpected turn when an explosion went off. Bowden was left on the outside looking in as the lives of his team were in danger. When Season 3 started, it was clear that everyone in 5-1 was safe, other than Dawson and Shay, who were nowhere to be found. When Severide finally found the two, it was too late for his roommate and friend Shay, who a broken pipe had killed. Because of the plot, Chicago Fire said goodbye to German, who left the show after her character died. One can never say that a cameo won't happen through a flashback or a message recorded before. Let's learn more about Gianna Mackey. In the history of Fire, Mackey's a strange case. In the first season, the character was introduced and set up to be a new force in the group of actors. From the beginning of her time on Chicago Fire, Mackey had to deal with some threatening calls, but she was lucky enough to get through them all. These calls also helped her and Brett become close friends. Everything looked like it was going as planned, but then she vanished. Later, it came out that the character had been taken out of the story and moved to a different firehouse. We're left wondering why she went so quickly and what would have happened if she had stayed. Mackey hasn't been on the show since Season 9, but she's close to and friends with many of the 51, so she'd be an excellent choice to make a cameo at some point. Finally, Otis Vonacek. Over the years, the show's introduced many characters we love or hate, but we've always loved Yuri Sardarov's character, firefighter Brian Otis Zvonacek. Otis was undoubtedly one of the most honest and good-hearted people to show up in the One Chicago franchise. He was always willing to go the extra mile for his 51 family, helping them and cheering them on as they went. He was also one of the most relatable members of the group, since he didn't hide the fact that he liked pop culture and sometimes felt like he wasn't getting enough attention. We were shocked by his shocking departure in the Season 8 premiere. Like his former co-star Lauren German, Yuri Sardarov's departure from Chicago Fire wasn't because he wanted to leave the show. The writers decided to kill off a character to show how dangerous the job is. They looked for someone who was close to a lot of the other characters and whose death would have an effect on the whole show. Even though we were upset, Sardarov was a true professional when he discovered that the show would kill off his character. He knew that sometimes writers must make hard decisions and kill off beloved characters. And on that note, that's a wrap for this video. What do you think of this important character's death? Do you think killing him off at this point in the series made sense? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.